Hello and welcome to Sports News Africa, the home of Africa's sporting conversation. Let's take a look at the stories making the headlines across the African continent. Footballers Union of Zimbabwe pushes the Football Association to lift match-fixing bans. Mayweather and Pacquiao speak to the media ahead of the fight of the century. And Isaiah Kiplagat launches his bid for the IAAF vice presidency role. Thank you for watching Sports News Africa. I'm Angela Agor. The Zimbabwe Footballers Union is calling for the lifting of match-fixing bans imposed on some players and officials who were alleged to have thrown matches when the national football team was invited to a number of tournaments in Asia between 2008 and 2011. In criticising Zimbabwe's Football Association for failing to deal decisively with the matter, the Footballers Union said it was taking the matter to court in order to bring an end to the matter. Among the players still banned are former Warriors captain Method Mojali, his former Warriors teammate Thomas Sweswe, and former Dynamo captain Guthrie Zohini. Some of the banned players have gone for years without kicking a ball, and the union says the saga must be brought to an end. We can now speak to the Secretary-General of the Footballers Union of Zimbabwe, Paul Gundani. Paul, what is the major reason for the union's decision to take legal action against the Zimbabwe Football Association?
Our major reason is that the matter, which has been handled by the FA for the last 4 years, hasn't been handled properly as per the Federation's constitution. And also, after FIFA refused to endorse the worldwide bans, it has been discovered that there are quite a number of irregularities in which the whole process was flawed. And also the suspended players by the association are still unemployed as they cannot move from one team to another.
How has the bans impacted on the players' careers, especially those who wanted to secure moves outside of Zimbabwe?
In fact, they've had a negative impact on them in the sense that whenever a footballer is implicated in match fixing, most teams would never want to associate with such a player as his image is tainted. And now it is the obligation of the player, together with the union, that they fight that this case be heard fairly. And if the player is guilty, the position of the union is that that player has to face the consequences regarding that particular issue.
Many African stars have made it big in the major leagues in Europe. Has this scandal changed the perception of African players by some European clubs?
Yes, it's true. It has had a negative effect in the sense that it will take time for clubs in Europe to come to Zimbabwe and take our players seriously. Because as long as this matter is not concluded properly, following the laid down procedures, and the players are cleared or the players are dealt with decisively, it will always remain hanging to everyone involved in football.
If you win this case, isn't it going to trigger lawsuits against an already crippled Zimbabwe Football Association?
Definitely. Our intention is not only to let the players go back and continue with their footballing careers, but we would also want them to receive compensation, because most of them have lost the greater part of their playing footballing, and some of them have decided to retire. And even in their retirement, they are unable to practice any coaching here in Zimbabwe.
Paul Gundani, thank you for speaking to Sports News Africa. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao gave one last press conference before they clashed in the ring in the early hours of Sunday morning in Las Vegas. Both fighters are expected to make well over $100 million from the welterweight unification bout. But unlike the usual testy pre-bout news conferences, the pair appear to be on their best behaviour.
Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather have been ramping up the anticipation for their blockbuster bout at a news conference at the MGM Grand, the location for their fight. Boxing's latest fight of the century, between arguably the two best pound-for-pound fighters of their generation, has been more than 5 years in the making for Mayweather Promotions and Top Rank, the promoters of the fight. Bob Arum, Chief Executive Officer at Top Rank, says the heightened sense of anticipation for the fight is good for boxing.
This sport will help elevate the rest of boxing. I think based on the interest in this fight, there has been an increased interest in boxing as a whole, and that's great.
The two fighters were in an unusually cordial mood as they answered questions from the gathered press, with the possibility that both were saving their punches for the early hours of Sunday morning. Both fighters claimed to have God on their side and did not appear stressed. Neither will they feel they had given an inch in the psychological battle of wills.
Everything that I have accomplished is God who gave me the strength. You know, I just want to be an example and inspiration to everybody how my life before I became a boxer. I used to sleep in the street, you know, starving, hungry, and now I cannot imagine that the Lord raised me in this position.
Pacquiao's humble demeanor is the antithesis of Floyd Mayweather's brash and flashy persona, but none of that was evident as he too showed his spiritual inclinations.
That's what both competitors bring to the table, excitement. The biggest fight in boxing history, and I'm a part of it, so that's a great thing, you know. I'm just truly blessed to be where I'm at. I feel good, I feel strong, and I see you guys Saturday. Thank you.
Most bookmakers have made the unbeaten 38-year-old Mayweather the favorite for a fight. However, that appears to suit 36-year-old Pacquiao, who's reveling in his underdog status. But for Mayweather, it's business as usual.
One fight don't define Floyd Mayweather's legacy. I think every fight played a major key for me to get to this point, for me to get to this level.
So the present fight of the century might not define a legacy, but will make a huge mark on the boxing fraternity. But one thing is for sure, there'll be no hiding place for both boxers when the bell rings.
Welcome back to Sports News Africa. The World Boxing Council bantamweight silver champion, Catherine Peary, and her Irish opponent, Christine McMahon, came face-to-face during a press briefing in Lusaka ahead of their upcoming WBC Gold interim fight at the weekend. McMahon says the pressure is on Peary to come out on top in her homeland.
Irish boxer Christina McMahon may be smiling, but come Saturday's match, she promises relentless action as she is confident of a win. Speaking during a press conference in Lusaka, Zambia, where she met Zambian bantamweight champion Catherine Peary for the first time, she made it crystal clear that she wasn't there to play.
WBC didn't send cowboys, they send fighters, and you know, everybody's a fighter if they're involved with WBC, and you know, this girl is here to fight and this girl is here to win, and I'm not taking that easy, I'm not taking that as fun, I'm taking that very serious, and she is in my way at the minute, and I don't take that lightly.
The two will be fighting for the WBC Gold interim title on the 2nd of May. Catherine Peary, who appeared calmer but focused, echoed Christina's sentiments and asked fans to turn out in large numbers and witness the action.
I'm sure, like Christina has said, she's not here for a holiday, and also I was not on holiday myself also. So the fight is going to be a good fight. The Zambian people, they must come in numbers, come and witness 2 days to come what is going to happen that day. That's what I can say. More to come. I'll talk more in the ring.
Saturday's match promises to be tough and interesting. Both boxers have won most of their previous matches.
The outgoing chief of athletics Kenya, Isaiah Kiplagat, has launched his bid to become the next vice president of the International Association of Athletics Federation. Kiplagat said he plans to make the fight against doping a top priority if elected later this year.
Isaiah Kiplagat is a man on a mission. After stepping down from his long-serving position as chairman of Athletics Kenya, he now has his sights set higher on becoming the International Association of Athletics Federation's IAAF vice president. Speaking during the launch of his manifesto at a Nairobi hotel in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, Kiplagat said that if elected, part of his agenda would be addressing doping.
My mission is to ensure that this vice is eliminated, if not controlled, in the world. Doping is an issue, and in the Kenya continent and globally. We want to develop policies that will seek to reward the spirit of the sportsmanship. So if you win as a clean athlete, we want to give you something better than those who win by using the drugs. And make sure that if you have been banned at one stage, you should not represent your country in any of the international events.
Kiplagat also wants to reformat some events and focus on athletes' welfare and education. He aims to improve spectatorship by bringing in more shorter races that might have wider appeal. Athletics Kenya Vice Chair Lady Fatma Wale was also present at the launch and encouraged the government to support Kiplagat's bid, saying it would be beneficial to the country. She added the country's busy calendar was a good sign of positive direction.
One thing to note that this year is a very busy calendar year. We will be heading to Colombia for our World Youth event, which Kenya won a bid to host this event in 2017. Next, we'll be heading to Beijing, China, for our World Championship, and that is where the elections for the IAAF will take place.
Also attending the launch was new chairman of Sports Kenya, Fred Miteti. He said Kiplagat's bid for an IAAF post was a clear indication that Kenya had matured in the sports arena, particularly athletics.
This launch to Kenya, to us as Kenya, is that we have grown, we have matured in the sports arena. We can compete internationally. And in most of the areas we have participated in international sports, we have always done very well.
The IAAF elections will be held during the IAAF Congress in Beijing, China in August.
The Ghana Football Association has given the Black Stars the green light to participate in the Council of Southern African Football Associations Cup in South Africa next month. The GFA had previously been reluctant to commit to the tournament following the xenophobic attacks in South Africa.
Ghana Black Stars will participate in the Council of Southern Africa Football Association's COSAFA Cup in South Africa. The Ghana Football Association GFA has confirmed. Concerns had cropped up on whether the tournament would still go ahead after South Africa was rocked by xenophobic attacks on foreigners living and working in the country. Sani Diarra, communications director of the GFA, said the South African government had assured foreigners of safety.
The Black Stars will travel to South Africa to play in the COSAFA Games, cognizant of the fact that the xenophobia attacks had happened in the past. I think that the South African government have made moves to assure foreigners in the country and also visitors who are coming in the country that they will do everything in their means to ensure that they are not attacked.
In April, armed locals began attacking immigrants, looting their shops and even killing them, claiming that foreign nationals were taking their jobs. Tensions between Ghana and South Africa worsened after unconfirmed reports linked some deaths of Ghanaians in South Africa to the recent spate of xenophobic attacks. The South African government, in a quick rejoinder, stated that the deaths were unrelated to the attacks. Diarra said that participation in the tournament would create a platform to show the world that Africans are standing together in solidarity.
We hope that we can also use the opportunity to show how united Africa is and that the people who are perpetrating or masterminding these xenophobia attacks on other Africans in Africa are in the tiny minority. And by doing this and by partaking in the tournament, we are isolating them and exposing them.
The tournament will be hosted in South Africa's Northwest Province, which has not been affected by the xenophobic violence, and will run from the 17th to 30th of May.
Let's take a look at both ends of the table in the English Premier League. Chelsea will be crowned champions with 3 games to spare if they beat Crystal Palace on Sunday. Manchester City, Arsenal and Manchester United look almost certain to complete the remaining Champions League spot. Leicester City still sit in the 17th, just above the relegation zone, but Sunderland can leapfrog the Foxes if they win their game in hand. Here's a look at the results from Wednesday's games as well as the upcoming playoff fixtures. 5th-seeded Grizzlies will meet top-seeded Golden State Warriors in the NBA playoff semi-finals on Sunday in Oakland, California. In the other game, the Atlanta Hawks regained momentum in their series by beating the Brooklyn Nets to take a 3-2 series lead. On Thursday, the San Antonio Spurs will hope to wrap up the series when they host the Los Angeles Clippers. Spurs currently lead 3-2, as do the Chicago Bulls, who are away to the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's the end of Sports News Africa for today. Join us again tomorrow when we will bring you all the latest from Africa and around the world. Bye for now.